Hi, Adam.
Hey, Ray, welcome and welcome everybody. My name is Adam Cohn. I'm the Vice President of Broadcasting, Marketing, and Programs here at NCMA Boston. Don't mind the different camera, the headset mic. I am not at my normal setup today, so if you hear any background noise, that's just renovations going on. I'm over at a family member's house helping them out with that. But I am here with the one, the only Ray Fiavante, and I hope I didn't completely butcher your last name. Did I
No, you're
butcher your
one of
last
the
name?
1 in 10 that get it right. Fioravanti.
Excellent. Good thing you told me how to pronounce that before the broadcast. Ray, you are Associate General Counsel for General Dynamic Mission Systems.
I,
Obviously, General Dynamics being a mega company, GDMS, GDIT. Tell us just a little bit about you.
well, I've been at this for quite a while. I'm probably now a long timer. I always thought of myself as a young attorney because I was when I started and started litigating bid protests in the early 90s. But I began my career in 1988 as a clerk at the court, what is now the Court of Federal Claims. And that's really how I got into government contracting. And from there, um, I worked at a law firm and did a lot of government contracts litigation. We had a dedicated practice, a lot of bid protests, a lot of claims. And then I, I, I had been an equity partner for 3 or 4 years, and I decided I was going to move back to Massachusetts, where I'm from, raise my family. So I took an in-house job with General Dynamics, doing the same thing. General Dynamics, of course, being a government contractor,
Hmm.
and just got on the other side of the fence, as it were, instead of helping contractors with problems as they come up, uh, putting myself in a position to prevent some of the issues from coming up. In fact, this presentation is sort of one of those. It's about what happens when somebody really makes a mistake, submits a late bid. What can you do? You have very little time, but if you have the right set of tools in your emergency kit, you might be able to help it. And I think of myself as one of those people who can take the breakdowns and handle them and get people on the road again.
I love that. So we'll
That's what
get
we're
to your
doing.
session here in just a little bit. You talked about working at the COFC. So, kind of a two-part question. I'm going to take two of my questions and kind of combine them into one here. What got you into your field? And then
Sure.
more interestingly, what interests you specifically about this topic that you're presenting on? Because you already told us a little bit about your contracts journey being at the
Yeah.
COFC. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit what got you into that field. Was there something specific when you worked there that kind of brought you
Yeah.
into that realm as a lawyer? And then again, what interests you? Because when we hear proposals, I, I, I used to work for BAE Systems. I've worked for MIT. I've worked for small business. Every company, depending on the size you're at, usually has deadlines, proposals, white papers, blue papers, all the different gloves and everything else. But when
Right.
it comes down to it, you still have a deadline that has to be done by. And if you're 30 seconds late, you're late.
Right. Right.
So what interests you about this topic?
Well, I'm sorry to say that I have some experience with this topic. So, because, like all of these stories and like all of the cases we go through, it's painful. It can be excruciating. And to your point, we're in an industry where we can easily spend over $1 million putting together a proposal. Uh, the contract might be in our plan, and I, it's not that uncommon within the industry to have your proposal hinge upon uh, something as simple as whether the courier knows the password to the elevator that in a government building, or whether he gets on the right train, or whether there's a snowstorm canceling flights.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there are some crazy stories, and none of them are pleasant. Again, I go back to the toolbox. There are exceptions to the late bid rule. And if you're clever enough and informed enough, uh, you might be the person that has the right tool on the spot. I mean, there's often no time to involve an attorney or call an outside law firm, even if they're on staff.
Right.
You just have to know what to do in the immediacy of the news. And if you're the one who gets the phone call that the proposal's not in on time, the deadline's passed, he's not in the office, the contracting officer's calling saying she doesn't have it. There are things that you can do, namely somehow get it in the control of the government.
Hmm.
Leave yourself a puncher's chance. It doesn't mean that you're going to get your proposal admitted, but you will be putting yourself in a position to make some arguments. You'll be preserving arguments and leaving
Well,
yourself
let's
a chance.
let's kind of get into that as we wrap up this interview here. Give us like something that people can expect to learn during this session. Give us that like snapshot to get people to come, because again, we have a lot of important topics this year, and the purpose of having these interviews is to help all of our people coming to get to the right sessions that's going to
Right.
help them in the here and now, or
Yeah.
help them out for later. Like if someone is literally going through a proposal and they just went through this thing, this toolbox that you're talking about would be one to really help them out. So give us that like 30-second sales pitch, if you will. Why should people attend this session?
This is the emergency breakdown kit. And so I do think that, like most government contractors, you hope never to have this issue. And but I think that you need to recognize that it will come up. And as I said, I've been doing this for a long time, and it does come up. And sometimes the most competent, well-intentioned uh, proposal managers can find themselves in this predicament. So what you're going to want to do is try to get the proposal in the control of the government as soon as you can. It might be a security guard. It might not be the right room. It might not be the right building. But you want to put yourself in a position where you can argue that the proposal was within the government control and you were not in a position to modify it in any way. If it's an electronic submission, which is very common these days, send it by email. If the portal isn't working, if you don't have the right password, send it by email somehow to a government official. But the theme is control. Get it in the government's control and do it quickly. If you wait too long, with every passing second, your argument gets weaker and weaker. And then, without getting too far into the weeds, uh, these issues come up in bid protests. If your proposal is excluded and you think you have an argument that it's not, you can file a bid protest. You have to really go to the COFC as a practical matter. They have a much different outlook on these regulations and how they're interpreted than does the GAO. And so if you're in a position of wanting to get a late bid submitted, you want to go to the COFC. And then, the other side of the coin is you might be in a position where your proposal is on time and the other proposal is late. And you might be making a reverse protest trying to exclude one of your competitors. Nasty business, but it happens all the time.
Yep.
And it's helpful to be well versed in that. Just if for no other reason, to let your client or your company know that you have an argument as to why your bid should have been selected, just like any other bid protest. Your competitor was late. That's a good protest ground.
Well, fantastic. Is
So,
there anything else that you want to share?
no, but this presentation is fun,
I
and
love
it's
it.
kind of funny. And there's as you might have gleaned, there's kind of a human element in all of this.
Of course.
We're not perfect creatures. We make mistakes. One of
Gasp!
the most enjoyable things, one of the most enjoyable things you can do as an attorney is really truly help someone who's in peril. If your proposal's late, you're in peril and you
Yeah.
need help. So this might put you in a position where you can be the one to provide that kind of much needed emergency care.
I love it. Well, Ray, thank you so much for the time. Folks, Thursday, March 13th, I'm going to continue to reiterate it on all these interviews. It is not Wednesday this year. Thursday, March 13th, registrations in the morning. All of the information is up now, ncmaboston.org. You can see our list of speakers. You can see the agenda. These interviews will be going up. You're obviously here on our YouTube channel or you're getting it from the agenda. Keep watching, make the best decisions for all of you out there, and Ray and I will see you at the March workshop.
Thanks.